Hello. This is Echelon School. It seems like it's still recording, so that's good. We're gonna be discovering more in this ramped up association of perspective and structure. It's really interesting to intake on this, how it works, components and stuff. However, if you pay enough attention, things start to make sense more, but it's kind of robust in tendency. And even if things seem out of place, there's always explanation for everything. Creating different roles in society, we shift and put effort into our anomalies that we present in such accordance. So that is much more robust than can ever be imagined, and you have to limit the process of awareness to a significant degree. And with more components, you're able to communicate at such a level that could be a standard inflation, not going high or low, but it just determines on the procedural effects. So it's like going through the same thing twice in a more inflatable system. Depending on that, gives birth to a more structural component, such as time and space going through an effect that goes through, like, beating entropy with differentiation derivatives could actually invoke much more granular design. And it's not so preferred, but it's like how it is, you know? It's a system that you can't really understand, like, perfectly, but it's really interesting how it works. And it's like a positional based system with radix that coincides with itself, thus giving you a birth to a whole new structural combinatorial alignment. Like one-way ticket, one suitcase, a new life. Whatever. You can amalgamate into that certain positional embrace and go through the effects or sum up what differentiation is, so you can progress through a circumnavigated effect. It determines on how you view each stage of differentiation. It doesn't have to be the same, but it's kind of like when you're counting through a normal countable system, there will be new examples for how they work, and each new equation is surmountably the more complex decision maker. AX plus B is a foundational, like, 0 point in one-dimensional space. 2x plus b is the next dimension, but it's still angled in the same dimension, just more complexity. Then 2x plus 1b is the next, and it proves that each level of conversion these equations are basically the interpretations of derivatives and differentiation. This can actually change the way not only we view permutations or linear orders. It can become much more understandable. But the cool thing about this is all of this is at certainly the same level if you study enough combinatorial passages and perturbations and associatrons and segmented systems like Morse code. Nonetheless creates this cool system. All of it, you could say, is coming from the system of Morse code that gives this system to life. It could be programmed in a fashionable computing diagram, but all of this can be worked with the neural network of lambda calculus in our new Echelon School system, where intentionally we already kind of created a computer system in non-imaginary space, and we can surf, go through it, but we just have to be in the same theory of equivalence. Each stage of equivalence has a new countable measure. AX plus B was a step above 1, 2, 3, 4, and that system is basically the next step in counting, then it's 2x plus b is the next step. But they can be seen in different ways. They're not always the same, and there will always be different theoretical elements of it. The system is similar to deference, inference, recursivity, logical backputs, outputs, negated freedoms, going through inter-reflected elements, and then you can go through a positional system to have, if it's 2x plus b equals 0 or 1, then a negative system would adapt to that, and it would be very, very similar to a permutahedron understanding of events. Could scalably see it in a different way, but it's just the way you see it determines how you view it. It's not always the same, but it's conspicuously similar. So, I'm talking in such a weird way, I know, but this is the element of, this is how we talk in school, kind of like a higher top of quality, where we talk in higher uppercase, giving us a different imagination of quality, where we're talking in front of the audience. So the story unfolds in a way that presents it in such a intangible dance of secular study. And talk like this constantly, we get an elegant presupposed position that is nonetheless interesting. It's like pre-quality. It's like a pre-system that we are going to learn about further that is similar to linguistic modularity to English, Spanish. Each system has a different poetry to the system, which proves its quality. If all systems are very similar, then they shouldn't be either different or the same, that we should stop seeing the world as a one-world government, because the system of 1 turned to ax plus b equals 0, and the 0 is not the structure, it's just the thrice put system that is similar to the 33rd degree position of freedom in Masonic studies, which the Masonic system is basically a higher school echelon that nobody really talks about, heading for the diligence of vision, which is what I call it. I call it vision. It's a higher echelon system. Can't talk about it much, but it's a fully integrated system that used to be seen as the wrong, but it's actually the right. And we don't know why, but it neglects the old system into a new measure, but it has different approaches. It's not all about multi-level marketing or neural networks or design of systems like architecture technology in a more cooler way. There's other aspects that revolve around vision, such as Califorco and Awasoft and Sapphire, all these different effects. Rampage, they're just different users in the cloud index. Sigma's Cloud Operator 12, Acapult System, Iopressa, Iendos, Iondoles, Fressa, all talked about in the hidden quality of empty set. So it gives me more understanding to talk in such a way that gives a impressionable ideology of dictatorial effect. And I'm not a dictator, it's dictatorial. So I say what is on my mind, and then it is inferenced like domination, but I'm not dominating the spot. I'm not competing. I'm just saying this is how I view things. And sooner or later, you will start to see your own qualities, which you already still have. And it makes sense to talk at this quality, but I need more embrace, more understanding to see the entire quality I'm actually looking for. So yeah, keep in touch.